Is Wednesday, August 26th, and today I want to show you behind the scenes of how I use Codex, which is what I prefer to use over Claude Code, and how I use it specifically for designing web pages. What I'll do is we do have a web page that I'm making a plus video netlify.app. Gotta see a lot of times, like, I always forget where I have like hyphens, but this is the website that I've made. And so I like it. It looks pretty good. Um, so as you can see here, like, I'm trying to have something that really catches your eye, then kind of gets you to scroll. And the issue is that after this scroll, I really want to make it super clear what it is that we're doing. So, how do I do that without constantly going back and forth chatting with the agent and then it forgets it? So, there's a technique that I really love to do, which is error clustering. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to do two things. I'm going to label, and I am also going to annotate. And then once I label and annotate, I am then going to categorize. So doing these three things is all that I really need to do. And the skill that we will use will take this live web page and just kind of break it into pictures, and then I can start annotating on top. Okay, so I really love that. And then I can go through all of the pages on the website. Okay, so this is definitely a challenge to do. But I really want to show you behind the scenes of how I'm going to update this website from what it is now into what is going to ideally pay my bills next month. Maybe even could pay all my bills for this month because I do have some bills due next week. So, with that being said, let's dive in and let's start using the skill. So I'm going to expand this panel, and now I want to start giving some immediate feedback. So the first thing I want to say is that I'm like, just remove this. Um, Now I want to take a look at the headline, and I'm like, okay, find the moment, make it the opening. Hell no. No. So what I want to do instead is I'm going to need to review some of my files in tandem to this. So what I will try to do now um, is, unfortunately, this is not inside of a root folder. So I will have to just go about and use this. Okay, great. I'm going to ls inside of here, which will just tell me what I have. I have some docs. And so what I'm going to do is I do have a file that I would be able to open. So let's go ahead. I'll have to use Vim for this. So bear with me. Uh-oh. I didn't use the correct root directory. So now I'm just gonna say docs. Okay, great. So let's go through this. I want to think about who our customer is. So our first buyer already has records of useful conversations. They could be a founder, a clinician, an educator, a podcast host, or a small marketing team. They know me, Anthony, Kazar, or our digital health collective through a stream, community, or professional connection. They don't need to be convinced that video can help. They need a practical way to turn a recording into work people will watch and understand. So this is where I think there is some context rotting right here. Um, so you always have to inspect your markdown files for sure. Um, Okay, next, triggering moment. The person has finished a stream, interview, webinar, podcast. The replay is long. The opening takes too long to reach the useful point. The person knows there are clips inside the recording, but can't decide which moments become clips. What's the functional job? The customer wants to find the promise of the recording, build a better opening, and those clips can stay alone. All right, so this is our customer desire map. So what I want to do is in the desire map, I want to think about build a body of work that keeps the detail and judgment of the source. And so now let's get some working customer phrases like we recorded something valuable, but the opening takes too long to get there. I know there are clips in this conversation. I do not know which are worth cutting. I still have to make every decision after I hand the recording to an editor. The clip sounds good, but it does not make sense if you missed the stream. I want a remote team. I do not want another team to manage. Nah. So as I'm going through my own documents, I'm realizing, okay, this isn't strong or compelling enough for us for like our copywriting research. So what I'll do right now is I'm gonna YouTube first minute. The for critical window, blah blah blah. Um, let's see. Yeah, this is like, look, how your YouTube effort gets wasted because of the first minute. Why? Yeah, this is much better. And this is totally fucking AI, which is crazy. Let's see. So we're not going to be able to say warning here, right? Like, look at ours. Find the moment. No. So how do we do the copywriting is we just have to look at other examples. So the first minute. So I'm just really trying to see like who's talking about the first minute. And so also it could be YouTube retention. But then it's also who's the customer, right? And so for the customer, I'm the customer. And so, what I think that I want to see is like, I want to amplify my message. I want people to start leaning in. So what I would do is I would say produce videos that make people lean in. So what I'll now do is um, hold on. I'm going to hit escape, and I'm now going to, oh, I don't know why this is, let's see what's going on here. Okay, boom. So I'm going to say replace this text. It should say, and now our big issue is that we just need to have a few words, right? So for our few words, I would say first is we need to get the promise. And the promise is, getting people to lean in, getting people to, I would, because right, it's not like as I'm creating my own content, I don't care about audience retention. Like that's not my top thing. When I'm thinking about myself as a creator, I'm like, you know, drawing people in, draw more people in, earn respect. So earn respect fast without a whole production crew. Earn respect fast. Yeah, earn respect fast. Um, earn respect fast. Uh, that's still too short, right? Like, he still has to be thinking about what is it that people want. Like, we want to think about what are their hopes and dreams, what are their desires, and what are their current realities. And what I would say is like, produce. So we want to think like, what's the word that they care about? And so what we should give a try to right now is we should make a verb list of strong actions. So when we think about like, what is it that we want to offer to people? Like sometimes, hold on, Pinterest. Don't be annoying, Pinterest. Yeah, Pinterest, you're ruining my experience right now. I think I'm seriously gonna have to leave the web page now just because you fully ruined this. Okay. All right, I'm gonna nuke that one. Okay, that's fine. So I want to look for strong verbs, but also like strong verbs always don't make sense. Like charge, chatter, collide, dash, demolish, gobble. Not saying gobble to my customers. Humiliate, hunt, jab, spiral, push. I think push could be in, pull could be in too. So pull people in with your videos. No production crew required. Okay, and the no production crew required should be small add-on text that looks like a hand-drawn annotation to accent the headline, and thus the headline font would need an upgrade to match our crown jewel animation below. And so this helps me get context into the right place. So now what I want to say is like, well, what's the promise? Now, again, the copywriting here, turn expert recordings into a clear first minute useful clips and publishing system. They don't fucking get that, right? So let's come back to the homework and let's understand for a second, like, what's the job to be done, right? So we've recorded something valuable, but the opening takes too long to get there. Okay, what I want to do is I want to just think about like what's the call to action that we want to go for. So now what I want to do is I want to say, we produce videos that give your new viewers a reason to stay. Through custom branding, animations, and post-production magic. Okay, great. Now get the free first minute check. No one's gonna be salivating for check my first minute. I'd say like first minute checklist. I think like that could be good because then a lot of people would be like, all right, like what is this about? Like am I hitting this or not? But I also do think that, let's see, 5 questions that show whether the opening gives a new viewer a reason to stay. So I'm like, if it's 5 questions, then I'm like, okay, you could ask that to your AI and you could get a satisfactory answer. What we could do is we can do a clip card template. So templates to hand to an editor, I think like that is um that's a really good one because then if people are like, "Oh, that's a good template." Um okay. So what I will now do is so get your first minute check. Instead, it's going to be like so steal our exact spreadsheet. Steal our editor spreadsheet. And then this would be like work directly with us. Stop losing great content because of misalignment with your overseas editors. Right? Boom. Um, okay. I think I just want to update this, but I think the editor has an issue of like me editing after the fact. All right, so that's all right. Um, find the promise, move it forward, cut the complete idea. Okay. So now that's the first one. I'll take a look at it on mobile. Um, and the same thing is going to need to happen for that. Um, all right, so now this is the homepage lead magnet where it's not the 15-minute worksheet. It's going to be overseas team worksheet. So never run into a translation or expectation problem with your overseas team again. Steal our exact template that helps us keep our time and location freedom while producing 20 plus, while producing 40 plus hours of content per week with a fully remote team. Boom. Now we got to get these bullet points. And so the bullet points for what is it that we're going to promise, that's the next thing that we have to do. So bullet point one, let's see. So I have to think like, what are the benefits here, right? And so inside of here, we're going to say like, how to differentiate your personal brand through your videos. So, and so now the bullet point has to make sense, right? And so the bullet point, we only have a couple of words. So we're going to say our exact template for handing off videos to editors. 5 different right, and so we'll just say that. Oh, I wish this edit button worked. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to do that. And then I will give this another try real quick, where now I'll say that. And then my next bullet point here is going to say our exact templates for handing off videos to editors. Then we're also going to say like communication scripts to ensure alignment across language barriers, mental maps that everyone can adopt, simple systems for constant production of value. So that's a lot better now. So now we'll say here, replace rephrase. Okay, awesome. So the A+ method, this is where, I mean, I definitely know that we need to have our method. This needs to use our personal team context to make it sound like we are speaking directly to one person, and an understanding of them like we are in their own head. Therefore, our current docs stop short, and we must reason upwards more to have customer empathy while treating them with preeminence and sticking to our goal of what we sell and our CTA, our call to action. Okay. And then I just want to drop the same comment here. I didn't see the comment box pop up. So what I'll do is I'll say, update this copy based on the other comment on this page. Awesome. So we can keep kind of moving forward. Proof of rhythm. This doesn't make sense to anyone. So we want to say scheduled, recorded, and produced 60 podcast episodes in 2 months to launch the Digital Health Collective podcast and generate $100,000 in sales pipeline, and drove and expanded sales team 4x. So that's the actual case study. Awesome. Team portraits, who we are. So update this by looking at 3 Okay. And so now what we need to do is we need to say the creative director, strategist, so it combines deep technical knowledge with Vedic wisdom to guide to find original ideas and a sense of flow. Anthony, client facilitations, and account management. Anthony is your guy. As your point of contact, Anthony will tell you exactly what works best because he dog foods everything we sell. First, ask Anthony about how he grew to 60,000 plus followers on TikTok. Great. Czar is your video magician. Czar is being mentored by Anthony and Jai to learn to become a 100x digital video producer using Jai's dharmic data principles to deliver high quality creative work enabled by AI. Oh, I love that. A little bit of storytelling. Um, okay. Your best idea should not be buried inside the recording. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say remove, say update this copy based on other screen annotations. So what I'm now going to do is I can see the uncategorized annotations. And what I will now need to do is I will say I have 23 uncategorized annotations. Cluster them and work to resolve them and guide yourself to fixing all 20 screens given what I've said thus far. And then I can just loop to goal. And usually this will come out to a better solution. Um, and so this is a really good skill, in my opinion, because now what we're going to be able to do is I've organized the journey and then I've commented on the journey as we go through. So, like, there's the homepage, there's when people are converting. And so we commented a little bit there. There's our proof point part of the journey as well. So I know that that's taken care of. For talking about our team, I know, okay, that's another big part of the journey to take care of. For the services we offer, I didn't comment on all of them. Now for the decision and our offers and our confirmation page, I know that these are going to need to change. However, so much of what I said upstream was really important to address. So I'm just going to let that run on its own. Given the feedback that I've given so far, I'm just going to let it figure it out on its own. And now this gives me the ability to kind of like zoom out for a second, take a look. So far, like, this website is looking pretty good. Service menu is kind of the next thing that I really care about. And so the service menu, we didn't really get a chance to talk about what this part is going to look like and how to sell this effectively so that people know that they can buy this as well. So I think that that's another thing worth looking at, is that this is a product page. And right now it doesn't look like a product page that I could buy something. So how do we overcome that? And so what we want to do is we want to look at a good role model. And so a great role model in the information product industry would be Ramit Sethi, without a doubt. And so if we take a look at this landing page, Ramit is very well known for having really exceptional landing pages. So one of the first things is that, wow, like, this is such a good call to action up in the top right. So I'm like, okay, this is like, this is pretty good. Let me try to get a comment in here saying, like, hold on. This is a pattern worth stealing for our service menu page in the top right, with this copy, but our branding. Okay, so I think, like, that's just super, super, super good. So this is a sales letter, FYI. So this is another thing that is worth noting, is that he's doing a sales letter. So then there's like, all right, steal these from how Jai has trydogfooding.com and chaywithjai.com set up. Use those and frame it similarly for our service menu page. Okay. Now I'll say consider generating some custom images to paint the story. Generate images to reference that immediately are recognizable and understandable for their daily lives. Continue the visualization to paint the picture better. Make Kazar, Jai, and Anthony real like this to paint the picture. This is really excellent as well. So what I'll do is I'll say, make us real like this, and nice image with quote. I mean, this is just like a really, really spectacular landing page. Really, really just through the, just through and through, this is a great page. But this is a sales letter. And what I think about a sales letter now is that, it's not like people are seeing this from an email list necessarily. But I also think that in a service menu, so what I'll now do is I'll pull up, there's DBM Bootcamp. So let's take a look. So this is a YouTuber who is creating this. And so they're defining it. There's a free series, free course. So super, super good lead magnet. And then there's a really, really good carousel right there. So just go buy anything from her. But keep in mind, these are really well priced products, just super, super good PDFs. We currently don't have these. I think we definitely could. And this is where we have to make a decision. And our decision is that this is a really good digital product to sell, but this is from a creator who has 100,000 people in her reach, compared to, let's say, doing a sales letter. And a sales letter is having a goal of trying to get people here to buy a class. We are trying to sell people on getting a service. So this is where I would say this is a little bit misaligned, right? Because when I want to make our page, so our page is going to be a+video.netlify.app for right now. So for us, we want to sell this offering, and the issue that I now see from comparing and contrasting a really spectacular sales letter and then another really fantastic um, productized offer from Dea that really just helps people trip their way in is also thinking about who Dea is attracting. So Dea is attracting, a lot of women who are already virtual assistants, and they're trying to go from, you know, maybe making somewhere between 25 to $40 an hour to making 70 plus dollars an hour. So that her pricing makes sense here. What Anthony and I want to do is we really do want to come premium. And so when you're premium, you should sell a little bit differently. This is a course, and this is now being sold as a live cohort. So I think like let's kind of examine that real quick. So Ramith is really trying to sell a concept and a dream to someone. He's really trying to get them to be aligned with making an investment in themselves and trying to get people to really overcome friction. um, and so I think that's what makes this so strong, and this is a page where you can just keep reading and reading and reading and reading and reading, right? It has a calculator on the page as well. So this is going to be sold predominantly through um, this is going to be sold predominantly through email, I think. So there's a lot of people. So Ramith has an email newsletter of about 500,000 people, if not more. So we now want to also look at, well, who else is selling in our area? And so we do have betteredit.co. So let's take a look here. So this is their page. They have simple logos. What do they do? What do you get? It keeps it simple. What is the price? So this is good because the pricing is quite nice. And then boom, they have a super, super simple way to book the chat as well, where they're headquartered. So what makes this offer good is this one is simple, the simplicity. And so what I can do is I can pass over some annotations, and I'll say, let's get the service menu to match this format minus the header from Better Edit. The annotations are in relation to earnable from Ramith. And what I'm going to say is I don't think anyone else really has this. Oh, you know what? Another good one could be is Design Joy. So let's look at that one. Okay, this doesn't really look like that. Okay, great. So this looks super nice. See pricing. Um, Aim to do a treatment where you take this feedback about both, and for the service menu and decision page, we should use Design Joy, use the web browser's tools um, for being able to clone first and then adapt into our format. Okay. And then I'll file this off as like something that will happen after the fact. And so now what I'll do is I sent over the feedback on this. I sent over the feedback on this as well. Ooh, look at this. Pull people in with your videos. Yeah. No production crew required. We produce videos that give your new viewers a reason to stay. Oof, that I like that. Fix the part of your video process that keeps slowing you down. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Hold on. I think you guys can't see this anymore. Um, all right, there we go. So, man, this is really coming together quite well. So, I'm super, super happy about this. I'm super, super happy about what it looks like right now, too. So, I can't wait for this to ship. I know it's going to take a little bit of time to ship as well, but I'm really, really trusting the process for sure. Okay, I'm going to check a couple of things real quick. Oh, that's interesting. I see I'm live on X. So that's nice. I wish I could see more of like what was going down. I see YouTube. We got YouTube around too. YouTube, I should probably head over. If you're there, leave me a comment so that I can at least see. Gotta find my own stuff. Sometimes like this, I wonder if like I'm the boomer. um, Live. Yeah, this is live right now. I can't see any comments or anything right now. I'm trying to look through this stuff. But here we go. I mean, this is looking good so far. This is something where I'm like, okay, I think that this is gonna work now. Going through this more and more. I like that it has this for sure now, like team training built into the work. Okay. I'm going to take a look at where this is currently running. So I think it's could be 4147. Let's see. Localhost 4147. No, it's not that one. All right. I'm going to come back to the stream. Um, So what I will do briefly is I will just get to the commands, and let me just spin this up briefly and close a couple of these things out. Um, I'm not gonna lie, that coding agents definitely make me lazy. Vim package.json. Yeah, so it should just be npm run dev. So I'm gonna say npm run dev. Bada bang. Oh, is that port? Okay. Man, this looks good. Pull people in with your videos. We produce videos that give your new viewers a reason to stay through. With custom branding, animations, and post-production magic. So that's something I will just have to update that. Steal our editor spreadsheet, work directly with us. Oof, come on. You should not have to edit the edit. You finish your stream knowing the conversation was strong, then the work starts again. You find the opening, explain the idea to an editor, correct the content that they missed, and repeat the same feedback in the next round. By the time the clips are ready, you have done the hardest parts twice. Your overseas editor is not the problem. The judgment in your head never became a system they could use. That is the part we help you fix. Overseas video team worksheet. Never run into a translation or expectation problem with your overseas team again. Steal our exact templates that helps us keep our time and location freedom while producing more than 40 hours of content each week with a fully remote team. Our exact template for handing videos to editors, communication scripts that help people align across language barriers, mental maps that the whole team can use, a simple system for producing useful work every week. Love it. Um, all right, great. There's a form that works beautifully. The A plus method your editor cannot deliver will only exist in your head. You know what the video should feel like because you were part of the conversation. Your editor only knows what appears in the files and the brief. We close that gap before the first cut. Beautiful. What this looks like in practice. We scheduled, recorded, and produced 60 podcast episodes in 2 months to launch the Digital Health Podcast Collective. The launch generated $100,000 in sales pipeline during that team. Okay, nice. The people behind A plus. We were already working across healthcare technology, community, and production when we saw the same problem each week. A remote team could make strong work when everyone understood what the video needed to do and why. Perfect. Perfect. I love this. I mean this just really hits for me, I have to say. So now let's come back to Codex. So Codex is still going to keep making these edits, and then it's going to patch these up. What I have to say though is that um, this worked really, really, really well. Um, and I love using this skill. So I have to say this process works super well. I'm going to keep using this skill. We designed a phenomenal front end as a result of this. And yeah, I really can't wait to see where this service is going to go. All right. Thanks. And I'll see you in the next one.